Hi, I'm Rachel, and in this video I'm going to break down Sun Salutation A. It can be quite confusing to start off with, so I'm going to break it all down in a really easy and fun way so that hopefully you can start to implement this into your regular practice. There are so many physical and mental benefits to practicing Sun Salutation, so when you're ready, let's hop on the mat and get started. Today I'm going to break down Sun Salutation A, also known as Surya Namaskar. Sun Salutations are a series of linked asana known as Sun Salutations with focused breathing, and they really help to warm, strengthen and align your entire body. There are many benefits to practicing Sun Salutation, and I thought in this video we could break down each posture as a pose by itself and then look to use that focused breathing as we work through this series of linked poses. So when you're ready, hop on your mat. Let's begin at the very top of the mat. So we'll start more traditionally. We have the big toes together with a little space between the heels of the feet. Now I know for some people, especially if you're struggling with an injury or limitation in your body, you may actually want to step a little bit wider. So maybe consider having the hip points directly over the top of the ankles rather than drawing the feet together. So we start at the very top of our mats to give us space to actually move through this sequence and use the entire mat behind. So whether your feet are together or whether you've stepped a little bit wider, we're going to look to ground down into the four corners of your feet. So when we talk about the four corners of the feet, what we mean is where your toes are, right and left, where your heels are, right and left. So they're the four corners of your feet. The mountain pose, which is this pose that we're coming into right now, it's also known as Tadasana. It's a really strong pose. So when you think of a mountain, you think of a really strong and grounded and strengthening pose. So as we press down into the four corners of the feet, just think to yourself, how can I create more strength in my body? So we have the balance through the foundation, through our feet. We're going to work our way up the body towards the crown of the head, seeing if we can build a little bit more strength. So we're coming back to the intention of this posture. Starting from the feet, we're grounding into the four corners. Moving our way up, lifting the kneecaps upwards towards the quadriceps, and that helps to fire up the muscles in the legs. So they're working hard for you now as well. Tucking the tailbone underneath just slightly. That will help to engage the glutes. Also helps to draw the navel back towards the spine as well. So slight pelvic tilt here. Squeeze the glutes. Now actively draw your navel back towards your spine so that you're starting to use your core abdominal muscles here. Continue to work all the way up to the crown of the head. So we're going to lengthen through the spine. Bring the shoulders towards the ears and then rounding them down and back. I really like to spread my fingers wide as I'm in mountain pose, so I get to feel every single finger, and I'm still active through my fingers as well. So I'm pressing them down towards the earth. Now from here we're looking to finish off that strengthening conditioning work all the way up to the crown of the head as well. So see if you can pull up through the crown of the head. That should help you to lengthen a little bit more, helps to elongate the spine. So standing strong, standing tall here. This is not really a resting position. This is a very active pose by itself. This is mountain pose. Now from here you can take the arms out to the side if you want to, or reach the arms forwards and then all the way up towards the sky. Still keeping the foundation with the feet and the legs, hugging your ribs in towards each other so they're not flaring out and opening. We are now lengthening through the arms, so making this mountain even taller. This is called extended mountain pose. The palms of the hands are turning in towards each other. My fingers are still spread nice and wide, but you can bring the fingers together if you prefer. So reaching up just that little bit more And then as you exhale, we're going to soften the knees, taking the hands down towards the ground. So we're hinging from the hips and taking a bow down, releasing the chest towards the thighs. You can soften the knees as much as you need to. And we don't have to be able to touch the floor in this position at all. We're just simply extending through the legs and then creating flexion through the spine. So allowing that spine just to naturally curve over the legs. This one is called deep forward fold. Feels pretty strong the moment that you enter into this posture, but take a few more rounds of breath and see if you can breathe into the specific areas of your body that you know you're holding tension in. Well done. From here, we can bring the hands onto shins or hands onto thighs. And now really we're looking to extend the spine. We're drawing the crown of the head forwards. Imagine that your back is now a table and you're looking to balance something on your back. And you can use the support of your hands resting on the thighs or on the shins. If you have a little bit more flexibility through the backs of the legs, maybe come up onto the fingertips instead. And this one is really about lengthening the spine. It's also about drawing the navel in towards your spine to help the abdominal muscles contract. So everything is starting to warm up in the body now. And then we're going to fold back over the legs again. So back to where we came from, into deep forward fold. Remember, you don't have to hold on to the floor. You don't have to be anywhere near the floor. Just starting to feel the sensation of lengthening through the backs of the legs. Take a few more deep breaths here. So we'll place our hands down onto the ground. Again, soften the knees. We're going to step back with one foot. Step back with the second foot, making a plank pose position. We have the variation of resting the knees down onto the floor. Of course, that is always an option. You are still building strength in the right areas of your body. You just have a little less load. But your alignment here, if we're focusing on that, we have the shoulders on top of the wrists. My fingers are spread wide here so they get a really good foundation, a really good base through the hands. And if I'm going to lift my knees off, I'm looking to press out through the heels of the feet. This is another incredibly strong pose. So if your muscles are shaking, if you feel your body shaking right now, mine is too. Remember to take the option of knees down if you need that. From here, we move into a pose that in Sanskrit is called Chaturanga Dandasana. In English, it is four-limb staff pose. It's an incredibly strong pose, so I'll give you another way of coming through and into the next one to link it. You can drop the knees down, drop the hips down, and roll down so that you actually lie flat on your stomach. Or coming into Chaturanga Dandasana, from your plank pose, we shift forwards. Is that transition forwards up onto the tiptoes? Then from here, hug the arms in towards the side body, point the elbows backwards, shoulders in line with the elbows. This is Chaturanga. Well done, release down. You feel that? It's pretty strong. Hands underneath the shoulders, uncurl the toes so that you're resting on the tops of your feet. And then with an inhalation, rolling the shoulder heads backwards to open your heart. So the first few rounds of Sun Salutation really are to warm up your body. So be really mindful about how your body wants to move. Maybe the elbows are bent in a baby cobra. Maybe your body feels like extending the arms. It's a variation that only you can decide. Starting to move intuitively with your body. That's the whole idea of practicing yoga. So from this cobra position, this heart opening, this back bend, we're going to tuck our toes underneath and then pressing into the hands, lifting the hips nice and high. We come into our first downward facing dog pose. So this pose is actually considered to be a resting pose. I'm not too sure on that. I can definitely feel my whole body still working hard. If you need to, you can rest the knees down or Maybe even look to do this posture on your forearms if your wrists are feeling sensitive today. But this pose for me is really about energy in the body. It's a chance to reconnect with the breath again. The intention is to lengthen the spine. So as you press into your hands, see if you can send your chest further through your arms and then lifting the sit bones towards the sky. Secondary comes the legs. So as I'm teaching my class, whenever I first come into a downward facing dog and I'm instructing my students to do that, I always ask them to give a generous bend in their knees, creating more space through the spine. So what we don't want to do is focus on driving the heels towards the ground and compromising the spine. So we're starting to lean forwards and round. Instead, we are looking to elongate the spine, create more space through the vertebrae, and then shooting our sit bones towards the sky. Think about the legs second. Okay, so once we go from downward facing dog, use an inhalation. So whenever you breathe in next, look forwards, and then we'll just take a nice slow and steady purposeful walk up to the very top of the mat. We've been in this pose before. This is half forward fold or halfway lift. You could have the hands onto your thighs, onto your shins, or depending on your flexibility through your hamstrings, maybe the fingertips want to connect with the earth. Choose a variation that feels right for you, and drawing the crown of your head forwards, your sit bones are shooting backwards. Well done. As we exhale, we'll take a fold back over the legs. Remember that generous bend in the knees if you need to. Crown of the head is searching for the ground. Now softening into the knees, you can take the arms with you as you come up to stand, looking to round through each vertebrae nice and slowly, making sure the head is the last part of you that comes up. We are back in extended mountain pose, so creating as much strength here in this posture as we did at the very beginning. Squeeze your glutes, tuck the tailbone underneath, bringing the shoulders away from the ears, and we're looking to create even more space. So really press down into the soles of your feet as you reach your fingertips towards the sky. And then as you exhale, we'll bring the hands to a prayer pose position. Join the thumbs to your heart center, feeling your heart beating. And then resting the arms down again by the side of the body. We return back to mountain pose, Tadasana. So at the very beginning of that sequence, I didn't use any breath at all. I didn't cue your breathing at all. But you can use these sun salutations in many different ways depending on the effect that you want to have on your body. So if you're moving through the sequence faster, perhaps using every breath to move to a different pose, you're looking to build that heat within your body, also increase your heart rate and your breathing rate. That becomes obvious from the very beginning. But if you're looking to move more slowly and more deliberately through these postures, moving slowly through the whole sun salutation, you can still have the heating effect of the body and the muscles are still warming, but it's more of a moving meditation. So you're spending time within each of those postures to really come back to the intention of it and to find your foundations and then link back to your breath. So now I'm going to guide you through Sun Salutation A again. So exactly that same sequence, and I'm going to guide you with the breath this time. So we'll start to move just a little bit faster, but wait for your own inhale or wait for your own exhale to move. Beginning at the top of the mat in mountain pose, grounding down into the four corners of your feet, tailbone draws underneath just gently. Navel moves back towards the spine, lengthen through the spine and then release the shoulders away, down from the ears, pressing down through the fingertips and drawing up through the crown of your head, standing tall and proud in mountain pose. On an inhalation, sweeping the arms all the way up towards the sky, finding more length here. As you exhale, bend at the knees, Hinge from the hips, swan dive forwards, crown of the head releases towards the ground. Deep forward fold. As you inhale again, hands can come onto shins or thighs, extending through the crown of the head. So pulling the crown of the head forwards and pressing your sit bones towards the very back of your mat. As you exhale, we plant the hands down, so make that generous bend in the knees if you need to. Stepping back to plank pose. That's just one exhalation. As you inhale, knees can come down and you can slowly roll down to lie flat or shift forwards. That's just the breath in. As you exhale, bend at the elbows, chest slowly lowers down towards the ground. Uncurl the toes. On the inhalation, press down through the hands, through the pubic bone, through the tops of the feet, coming into cobra, the back bend here. Squeeze your glutes to help protect your lower spine. As you exhale, tuck the toes, lifting your sit bones up towards the sky. Now remember to lengthen your spine here. So your foundations are your hands and feet. Pressing into the hands a little bit more to lift the sit bones even higher. We typically spend 3 to 5 rounds of breath here. So we'll just take 2 more full rounds of breath. Try to equalize the inhalation with the exhalation. And then as you inhale again, looking forwards to where your hands are, let's take a nice slow, steady walk up to the top of the mat. And then looking to lengthen the spine again, come into half forward fold. That's all one inhalation as you come forwards and extend the spine. As you exhale, we fold back over the legs, bowing the chest down towards the thighs, and the crown of the head is released down, hanging heavy here. As you inhale, soften the knees, slowly curl up through the spine, taking the arms with you, extend them all the way up and overhead, grow tall, extended mountain pose. And then as you exhale, bringing the hands through to your heart center, and then resting the hands down either side of the body. Back into mountain pose. Well done, everybody. I hope this helps to break down each posture of Sun Salutation and then also gives you a few more ideas of how you can incorporate Sun Salutations into your practice. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you again.